Hunger is a growing concern in the United States, and there are some people who are doing something about it. My guest today is Stan Arlt, and he's from Pasco, Washington. Stan, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So you have an incredible operation going on in Pasco to help to relieve the problem of hunger. So tell us about it. What happens, when it happens, and how did it get started?
Through the Riverview Community Services, Riverview Adventist Church, we operate a food pantry. We're open every Wednesday from 7 a.m. till noon. And during that time now, anybody that's a resident of Washington State can come and get food. It's a fairly fast-paced operation because if you look at, we're open for 5 hours. For example, this last Wednesday, we served 870 families. So do the math, and it's really pretty quick. So that's what we're all about, is to try and relieve hunger.
So I did the math, and that's just a little bit under 200 people an hour, 200 families an hour. Now, those families probably represent, maybe 5, 6, 7 people per family, correct?
Correct. If you look at our numbers from February, we served about 3,400 families. Of those families, there's about 12,000 individuals in those families.
That's amazing. How do you do it?
We just have a good team. It's like a well-greased machine. We have an inside food line which produces the shelf-stable boxes like canned food, beans and rice, and then we have an outside food line which gives produce, bread, things like that. And we have team leaders for each of those, and they're very efficient. Their crews are very efficient. So that's really how we manage, is we got good teams.
Now, I understand that you not only deal in food, but you also deal in babies. Tell us about what you're doing for the babies.
Okay, we distribute diapers. Probably 75 to 100,000 diapers a year, which we get from the Tri-Cities Diaper Bank.
100,000?
Yes.
Did I hear that right?
You got it right. Okay, now the Tri-Cities Diaper Bank is also part of Community Services, but it's more of a regional operation. I'm actually one of the board members. So we get diapers from the National Diaper Bank, a semi-load perhaps a year, and there's like 200 to 300,000 diapers on a semi-load. So, and that costs us about maybe $8,000. So it's really...
Whoa, that's pretty cheap.
It's pretty cheap compared, if you go to Costco, you can buy one box for $40.
Right.
We got a good crew that runs that too, so.
Now, is that also open on Wednesday for the same hours?
It's open on Wednesday for the same hours, so people can come and get diapers, and they can also come and get food.
Now, we did the math, so we're talking maybe up to 200 families within some of those hours, I'm sure. So how do you process that many people? You say you have to have some records from these people. So how do you just physically, logistically get them all through line?
Well, we have 2 registration gals. When the new client comes in, they fill out paperwork, and they're assigned a barcode, a small one, which we typically put on the back of their driver's license. And we have an online cloud system, commercial system, which all that information goes into. So the second time a person comes in, they just show the back of their driver's license. The check-in person scans it, brings up their information on the computer, click, click, they're signed in, they're given a ticket, they go get a wagon full of food.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So the first time is the only really time-consuming time as far as paperwork is concerned. You come back again and you have everything all ready for them to go. They just need to bring their driver's license with the code on it, and they're ready to fly.
Right, they're good to go. we have, because of the number of people we have now, we've actually had to add one gal that just does the check-in, because in February we averaged 50 new families checking in per week. And a lot of them are Hispanic, so the individual is bilingual.
Okay.
We also are getting in a few Ukrainians.
Yes.
And we do have actually a gal that's Ukrainian, been in the country for several years, but she translates. She can speak both Russian and Ukrainian. So.
Okay. So you are serving 4 language groups: Russian, Ukrainian, English speaking, Spanish speaking.
Yes.
Wow. Now, what is your sense regarding the need? We keep hearing inflation is driving prices of food up, driving prices of everything up, and people are having a difficult time feeding their families. That's what we hear in the national news. Is that being verified in your experience there?
Yes. In fact, our local newspaper Monday just had an article on it, and what they did is they're saying this is a perfect storm right now. Anything that could go bad is going bad. The government's reducing the SNAP, or basically cutting a lot of people out of that because the pandemic's over.
Now, why don't you explain SNAP to our audience?
SNAP is like food stamps. Basically, the government gives you an allotment every month for food. I think the paper said there's in Washington State there's probably like a $1 billion deficit for support for families for food and other services. So it's
$1 billion just in this state alone.
That's what I recall. Yes. So it's, and you mentioned, and let me give you an example of what I have seen. We purchase some food products to supplement what we get from our food suppliers, and one of our menu items is basically spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. Pre-pandemic, I was paying 88 cents a can, and I buy it by the pallet load. Now I'm paying $1.18.
30 cents.
30 cents.
Increase.
And when you talk about a whole pallet load, that adds up to hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
So, and our operation, other than the church pays insurance, utilities, and housekeeping, our operation is based upon either donations or grants. So, you know, it has an impact on us too. So
the church is taking care of the overhead, basically. So that keeps your costs down so you can serve more people.
Yes, the church basically pays about probably 10 to 12% of our operational costs, because we have 2 trucks, 2 forklifts. We have supplies like pallet wrap, bags for bagging produce, a different bag for rebagging beans and rice. So, I mean, there's office supplies. There's a lot of incidental. I think this last month, March, my expenses to date right now are like $800 just for operating supplies. Some of those will go from month to month, but.
Now, I want to advise our viewing audience that there's a break coming up, and we are going to have information for them if they want to get their pens or pencils ready, so that if they want to provide some kind of assistance for your program, they will know how to contact you. So what ways can people in the community, in the Pasco community, support the work that you're doing?
Well, what the community can do if they're looking at financial is send it to Riverview Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is located at 605 North Road 36. And then, if, for example, if it's a check, note that it's for community services.
Mm-hmm.
And our treasurer will then put it in our account.
Okay, and do you need any volunteers to come? I mean, it sounds like a lot of lifting, a lot of sorting, a lot of work just to get ready for the people to come.
Yes, especially on Wednesday, if you consider that we're putting out 2 to 3 wagons of food a minute. That's really when we need it, because we're really scrambling at 7 o'clock. Actually, we have, even though we formally open at 7, we normally have like 30 clients come in before 7. We're pretty flexible, and those are the ones that have to get to work. So we actually start 6:30, but the 5 hours is just nonstop.
So Wednesday is your heavy day, but do you have volunteers other days or other times during the week that break those pallets down and get those onto shelves, or in some way help with the project, but maybe people can't come on Wednesday, but they could come on another day?
Well, actually, we could use help Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Monday, typically, for example, we get beans and rice. Everybody gets beans and rice every week. So we get them in 50-pound bags, and we break those down and rebag them into 1-pound bags. So if you figure, like this week, 870, we needed 870 bags of rice, 870 bags of beans. Tuesday is when all our food comes in. So produce, typically we rebag from 40 or 50-pound boxes or bags, like onions, apples. This week we had oranges into grocery side bags. So we spent all morning, usually spend all morning doing that. So that's another major thing we do.
So your produce comes in on Tuesday so that you're distributing on Wednesday, so it's going out fresh.
It's going out fresh, yes.
Terrific. We want to find out more about your operation when we come back from our break, but I want to remind you that if you want to be a participant and not just an observer and make a difference in your community, that information will be on your screen in just a few seconds. Thank you. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome to Valley Viewpoint. If you are just joining us, my guest today is directing a fantastic food pantry operation in Pasco, Washington. Now, Stan, when we went to break, we were talking about ways that people in the community can support the things that you do. I'd like to also address how people in the community who are watching our broadcast who have needs can get access to the services and the food and the diapers and everything that you're providing. What do they need to do?
Basically, for food, it's fairly simple. They just need to come down to our food pantry, register. We give them a barcode on the back of their license for future identification, and then they're good to go. We give them a ticket, they can go get a wagon, and they've got the food. As far as diapers, it's a little more complex because it's a different program from the food program. Typically, that's focused on really low-income type people. So they'll have to provide proof of income, proof of where they live, things like that. So, but again, if they meet those requirements, they're good to go there. We give them diapers.
So the requirements are less stringent for the food program, is that correct?
That's correct.
But you're still aiming to serve those who are underserved or needy?
Yes, that's correct. There's still a lot of food insecurities, and it's going to get worse, as we mentioned earlier. Food prices are up. The government is providing less support for those with food insecurities. Housing's going up, so there's a competition in the households for where they're going to spend their money.
Utilities are going up.
Utilities are going up. I mean, inflation is just really
nibbling at every paycheck.
Oh yeah, depleted every paycheck, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. In fact, we anticipate we may end up with more clients just because of the financial situation. If you look at the homeless situation, that's a good indicator of where the economy has been for a few people, because the homeless situation, I think, continues to get worse. and it's a reflection on the availability of funding that various families have.
Now, I understand that you are the second largest food bank in the city, in the county. What is the...
We're the second largest food bank in Franklin County. The largest one is St. Vincent de Paul, and they serve about 1,100 families per week. They have a fantastic facility.
So you're both running around 1,000 families per week, 2,000 families. We're talking now about, 10,000 people?
Well, no, that you could probably double that.
Really?
20,000 individuals from babies to seniors.
Wow.
So it's a tough situation out there for a lot of people.
So there's a really big need right now.
There is really, and it's probably, we anticipate it could get worse with the federal funding going down.
Well, tell me how the operation got started in the first place.
Well, this, of course, is part of the Adventist Community Services, and it has been in operation since, well, probably the late 50s. And probably 20 years ago, they started parceling out food. And when I became involved, they were parceling out to 50 families a week. And this is about 2012, and they figured 50 was a good number. So if you fast forward to 2018, the church has purchased another building for us adjacent to the one we're in, adjacent to the church property. We were at 250 families per week, and we thought, oh wow, this is great. We're really hitting our maximum. Well, you fast forward to last year in February, we were at 550. And then February this year,
almost double.
Yeah, we're close to 900.
That's amazing.
So I mean, the thing about it is, it seems like whenever we've needed something, God has provided the resources. Even when we didn't realize we needed something, it showing up. And we've had excellent donors. Both our 2 trucks have been donated. One of our forklifts has been donated. We've got 2 forklifts. The other one, I was able to obtain a new one through a grant process. So, and again, basically our operation is dependent upon donations and grants.
Now, tell us about your work background. It seems like that has prepared you for the leadership role that you now occupy with the Community Services Group.
Well, what I tell people, I've had 30 years of training to prepare me for this position. Now, I am a...
Now, this is a volunteer position that you're in now.
This is a volunteer position.
Right.
So, I'm a graduate of Walla Walla College in civil engineering. I have a professional engineering license, and I retired from the City of Richland as Public Works Director, and that probably had more variation than most cities have, because Richland has a garbage department and an electrical department. The electrical was separate from Public Works, but for example, I ran a garbage company as part of my job, plus water and sewer and engineering department, transportation, stormwater. And then of course, I was personally assigned by council some of the more sensitive projects in town to complete. The biggest one was like $33 million to build a new sewer plant in the 80s.
So you've been prepared all along to run big operations. So this is not something that that you're afraid of.
Oh no, my city operation, I had 135 staff, and it was a $40 million annual operation. And for example, one of the other projects I was responsible for construction was a city shops, which was $15 million. And this, I actually did, it was a different department's project, replacement of all of the hardware, the infrastructure, parking lots, sidewalks around a shopping center. Actually ended up with 2 of those. And it was so politically sensitive, the council and the manager said, "Here, this is yours, get it done." And the manager, I retired, and
You
the
said,
manager
"No, thanks."
said, "Please come back here and finish this project." So I did. So anyway, yeah, so like I say, I've had 30 years of training for this particular job.
Now, a lot of people retire and they say, "I've done my thing." You know, you've done a lot for the Tri-City area over there during your working years, and many people would say, you know, "I just want to go home and hang my hat and you know, enjoy my hobbies and let the world go on." You're not doing that. Why are you so passionate about feeding all of these people? You don't have to do this.
Well, let me give you a little story how I got involved. My wife has worked there much longer in an assistant position. You know what a whirlpool is.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the outside and you kind of move toward the center. Well, my wife got me over there organizing this and organizing that. So as I moved closer to the center of the whirlpool, boom, I'm in. It wasn't an altruistic decision to begin with.
So we have your wife to blame for this.
Yeah, we have my wife to blame for this.
What do you think motivates your volunteers? Why are they so devoted to this project?
It's a matter of service, I think. And we have a variety. We have a core group from Riverview Adventist Church, and we have then quite a few community members from other churches. But it's like Christ said, you know, I come not to be basically served, I come to serve. So what we are doing is essentially following in his footsteps. And it's, you know, you kind of get into it, and it's really kind of fun to be able to serve people. We're very into making people, you know, comfortable. We have somebody that greets everybody every week. If somebody needs a hug, we'll give them a hug. We've had a few of our clients that we know pass away, and it's almost like losing a family member.
Oh my!
So I mean, it's kind of like it gets to be kind of like a big family. Not only with the volunteers that work there, but also a lot of the clients that we know that come in.
Very quickly, because we're coming down to the end of our show, what are the big challenges that you're facing right now and the big needs?
Well, probably what I would say, the three big challenges is making sure we have enough food, making sure we have enough money to operate, and then making sure we have enough volunteers. Because we don't know what the future holds for us as far as the number of clients. We thought at 250 we were pushing the limit. So we're, 900, but
knocking the door on 1,000, four times as many as you.
And with a really small facility. But it's worked so far, so those are the challenges we're going to continue to face. But like I mentioned earlier, when we've needed something, it usually shows up. So,
is there an email address where people can contact your community services group?
Okay, for all communications, I use my own email address. Basically, I operate out of a home office for all the paperwork and that. So, it's Stan Arlt at Outlook.com, STANARLT at Outlook.com.
Stan, thank you for joining us today, for sharing what your volunteers are doing and accomplishing great things. And thank you for joining us for Viewpoint. If you have an idea for a future Viewpoint, call us at 509-529-9149. For Viewpoint, I'm Dan Solis.